Okay, so the latest episode of Rick and Morty is now out, and the entry titled Bethic Twinstinct has a lot going on with it. It's obviously named after the film Basic Instinct with Michael Douglas and Sharon Stone, and just like that film, we've been slowing it down, zooming in, and also getting as close as we can to make sure we unearth all the Easter eggs, hidden details, and things you missed. This is also a Thanksgiving special, and we begin with a callback to the last Thanksgiving episode from the 5th season. Episode 6 of that run was titled Thanksploitation Spectacular, and it had both Rick and Morty transforming into turkeys. Beth brings up her ship is bigger on the inside, which is of course a nod to the TARDIS from Doctor Who, and it might also work in a similar method to how the window does. Cut to Rick, Morty and Summer playing a game based on asteroids, the popular 1978 cabinet game that ended up being introduced to homes on the Atari. Now episode 1 of this season had a nod to Tony leaving a message to Pepper in Avengers Endgame, and we sort of get something similar here with Morty's ship being adrift. He leaves a message for his hypothetical son, but we of course know that the character actually had one with Summer in Season 5 Episode 4. Titled Rick Dependence Spray, it was another one I incest you watch, and it's brought up by Space Beth at the end. Anyway, back in the game, we see a Street Fighter parody called Getting to a Street Fight. This centers around fighters trying to meet up, and we see that the two characters are based on Ryu and Blanca from that game. Later on, they also play a parody of Final Fantasy VII, but in this, Cloud is too weak to pick up his Buster Sword. The two Beths go on a date together above the planet Earth, and this reminded me a lot of the Dayton Passengers. I also think that we see a decoy body as well, which was featured in the second episode of Season 2. Cut to Rick ripping apart a space whale, and these creatures have featured in a lot of TV shows, books, and also movies. The idea of them first popped up in the 1970s, with the oceans being likened to the vastness of space. The Eerie and Otherworldly Whale song was also repurposed for their appearance, and I also got a lot of flashes of Jaws here. In that movie they of course cut open a shark early on, but it turns out that Rick actually wants to help the whale out. On the roof the Beths make snow angels when rolling around kissing, and the arms on these are together, symbolising the two people actually being the same. They blow shapes with their vape pens, and this reminded me a lot of Gandalf and Bilbo doing it in the Fellowship of the Ring. In a Star Trek-esque holodeck, we see that the Beths have aged up and spent their lives together, which Rick refers to as a San Junipero. This is the title of a Black Mirror episode in which two women fell in love together in a simulation that I won't spoil the ending of in case you haven't seen it. Now Jerry remembers the time that he was warned about her in high school and literally retreats into his shell, which we learn he had installed by Rick. This is based on a pillbug's ability to roll up, and Rick explains it's the only way he can take control. They decide to erase their memories, and they end up sitting in chairs that pull directly from Total Recall. Rick also mentions several movies, including Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind, which was about Jim Carrey's character erasing the memories of his ex so that he could get over her. Rick also talks about Multiplicity, which is a Michael Keaton film in which he gets cloned several times. Jerry packs up to leave, and I love how all of his clothes are the same, explaining why he never changes. Beth says goodbye and Rick puts away the wine, and amongst this we can also see he has a tequila-like drink with Morty inside of it. Normally you use a worm here, but I guess Morty is a worm, so he's just as good. Cut to the post-credit scene, and we see Jerry going to the Jerry Baree. First introduced in Morty Night Run, this was a place for all Jerrys to hang out, and we discover that some have been showing up to touch others, so they aren't allowed in without a chaperone. Down a dark alleyway, Jerry meets another version of himself, and he ends up kissing him. Might be a reach, but this could be a callback to the Black Mirror episode titled Striking Vipers. This was about a fighting game where two players met up and had a fight, and they then got it on and decided to meet up in the real world. The pair kissed, and with all the other fighting stuff, I kind of feel like it's tied in. Again, might be a reach, but I thought I'd bring it up. With that out of the way, thanks for sticking through the video. I've been Paul, I'll see you in the next one. Take care, peace.